Okay, we'll get cracking with the press conference. We'll start as ever with MotoGP. Wow, what an amazing qualifying session that was. The top three here in front of us, all going underneath a record that's set and has been standing for 10 years. We'll start with you, Johan. You were down in the gravel in free practice 4. Where did that come from? It was a sensational lap. Your pole position, your third of your career in MotoGP. Unbelievable.
Yeah, amazing. Overall, after the crash, I'm not the kind of rider to crash and then go very fast after the crash. And really, I was wondering what can I do during the qualifying. But immediately when I began the qualifying with the new tire, I felt good on the bike. So I did a lap, and at least to have some good reference and be qualifying. And then with the second tire, I tried to do more. I got one lap behind Dovizioso and Iannone, and we start like 1, 2, 3, 4 corners, and they begin to slow down. So I was still behind, but keep pushing and try to keep my tires warm. And then everybody was waiting because no one wanted to go front. So step by step, I was in front with nobody. And I say, well, I was happy to have some reference on the lap before. And then I say, okay, I have to do it. So try it. And I've been surprised when I did the finish line to see this lap time. Was, yes, just fantastic. And I was happy. It's good to be in pole position. It doesn't mean anything for the race, just a good start, a good opportunity. At the moment, with the pace, I think I don't have the pace for the victory, but why not tomorrow find it and go for it.
And what changed today? Because it seemed yesterday perhaps you weren't quite so happy, but today a completely different Johan Zarco.
Yeah, that's true. On Friday, I was like the old Zarco, the one that when he starts to slide, he get nervous and he scream. But then in FP3, we just did few things on the bike to give me this feeling from the test. And from that, I could work on myself, go, and just repeat the lap time from yesterday with the big win. This gave me a good confidence. Just the crash in FP4 has been the weak point of the weekend at the moment, but it's the important point because it's the one for the race. So let's see how I can feel tomorrow. But as I say, it's the best way to start the season and give the smile to me, to the team, and to everyone.
Johan, many congratulations. We move on to second on the grid, world champion Marc Marquez. Throughout free practice, your name hasn't necessarily been in the top 3, but you saved a great lap for qualifying. Unfortunately, it wasn't as good as Johan Zarco's, but with the conditions and a lot of wind, are you surprised at the lap times that all 3 of you set?
Yeah, of course. I'm really happy to be in the front row because, honestly speaking, my main target was trying to be on the second row and not far. But anyway, we knew that if everything is in the correct place in one lap, I'm very strong normally. And yeah, when you see qualifying practice, always you try to take something from yourself, and was like this. Honestly speaking, also Zarco deserved the pole position. He pushed in the front. He was faster than everybody. But yeah, I was able to do a great lap. The pace also is not so bad. But for tomorrow race, I mean, the most important is tomorrow. And I think the fastest guy is not here. Is Andrea, have a very good pace, and is the favorite one for the race.
Looking at free practice 4, where you can gauge who is going to be in the race for tomorrow, there are so many riders that are in this, possibly even 10 riders that could be fighting for a podium.
I mean, it's impossible to say who will be there. I mean, the race is very, very long, but if you check the pace in FP4, everybody was with the same pace. Everybody 55 middle, 6, 7, maybe Danilo and Andrea, they were a little bit faster, but yeah, about the race, I was happy because we work hard to try to understand the tires. On the FP4 also was with the medium rear to understand well, and yeah, for tomorrow looks like everything clear for us. And will be the key will be try to be there on the first laps, and then we will see in the end of the race.
Thanks very much, Mark.
Thank you.
Moving on now to I'm a Pramac rider, Danilo Petrucci. Danilo, you looked a little surprised to be in Parc Ferme, but your pace has looked so good. Were you thinking that you weren't able to get into third place and on the front row? I mean, it's a long time since we've seen two satellite riders on the front row in the opening race of the season.
Yeah. My target was to be in the first two row, because I know that tomorrow I think 7, 8, maybe even 9 riders can stay in the top group for at least half of the race, and it's important for me to start in front as much as possible, because I did one good start every 3, so it's not easy for me the start, but yeah, I'm happy. I didn't imagine to realize this time, and then I realized it was not enough, but I was behind a little bit far from Mark, and I saw Johan going away, and they did 2 incredible laps. Then I think for tomorrow is difficult, because I think a lot of riders want to stay in the top group, and a lot of overtakes, and for sure the key will be to manage the tire until the end, and will be not easy, but we are there, and I've been fast in all the session, but it count nothing with these riders for tomorrow.
You must be very happy with your race pace in free practice 4, consistent 155s, much like the test here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. The conditions are a little bit different, and for sure during testing we ride a lot more, and here it's today I found a good feeling on the bike, but the track is unbelievable dirty, and there is only one line clean, and in qualifying was unbelievable, because in the second run I said I have to do 1 lap because alone, because I didn't find the space. When I turned my head, I found 11 riders with me, all the riders in the same point, the same moment. And the most funny things that was that at least until one rider go out of the line was like a rodeo, because there was a lot of sand, and one rider tried to push, one to follow, then stop, then I was scared about this situation, but at least we managed to do 1 lap, and it's important for tomorrow.
Congratulations, Danilo. Moving on now to Moto2. And Alex Marquez, your first pole position here in Qatar. The Moto2 field looks one of the most competitive that we've seen in a number of years. You made pole position look quite easy. Did it feel like that? Because the conditions, as we've just heard there from MotoGP riders, were not easy.
No, never is easy to make one pole, and more when the other riders are top and they pushing also. But yeah, the lap, I make a really good lap, but in the end the most important thing is tomorrow. Today I didn't get any points, so tomorrow is the most important thing. Will be important with these conditions of wind, dirty, the track will be important to finish the race. I have a good pace, I feel ready for the race, but we need to keep this concentration. I make a solid weekend, but tomorrow is the most important day. So we need to keep like this and to keep focus.
And the 2018 bike feels good. At the end of last season, KTM's looked so strong. So you must be pleased with the work Kalex have done.
Yeah, I think in some conditions we are a little bit better. In other ones, maybe they are a little bit better. But I feel like everything more close, everything more tight. Many riders are fast. So tomorrow will be important, this race, this long track, many laps, to be constant, to be concentrate, and will win the rider that will make less mistakes. So this is the key,
And yeah, I need to improve some part of the track to be a little bit more consistent, but the pace looks good, so yeah, feel ready for tomorrow. But what they say, the most important thing is tomorrow's race, so we need to be focused.
Good luck. Thanks, Alex. Finally, on to Moto3. It's been a while since we've seen you here, Nico. The last time you were in a press conference was, of course, when you were a race winner here 2 years ago, and your last pole position, Le Mans, in 2016. But you're with a new team. You look very happy. At what point did you realise you were pole, and how do you feel?
I realized in the middle of the lap when I saw the number in the, I don't know how to call it, but in the straight there was, and I saw my number in the first position, and nothing. I was really happy and also surprised because yes, after the winter test I expected to be fast, but not in the pole position. And also, sincerely, I didn't expect to stay in front of Jorge in the pole position because he's really fast. And nothing, I'm happy, but we need to fight tomorrow with the other rider, and we will see because the pace of Martinez is really strong. So we will try to stay with him.
It must be a great feeling to get pole position with Paolo's team as well after such a tough year for you last year.
Yes, my last year maybe was my worst years. So he's happy to come back in the pole position in the first race.
Thanks, guys. That's enough from me, everyone. Over to questions from the floor.
Casper from Movistar MotoGP. A question for the MotoGP riders. How do you explain that 10 years after you broke the record of the circuit on the pole position of Jorge in 2008, the same day? How do you explain that?
10 years ago, Jorge was with Michelin, but with this qualifying tire, and it looks that could make a good big difference. But now, 10 years after, it's it was also with an 800cc bike. So now we have 1000cc bike, and we can see that in the test we were not far. So if we can manage well, even if it's not a qualifying tire, you feel that everything improves since 10 years, and it's perfect. It means the things are improving, and we can use it. So I'm happy for that.
I'm agree with Johan. No.
But for sure, the tires makes a big difference because the track today was very dirty, and I didn't imagine that the pole position was under 54. Yesterday was a little bit better, but when I saw lap times, I said it's possible. But yeah, like Johan said, in 10 years, for sure the regulation now is less free. You know, we have all more or less the same electronics, but the tire is a race tire, so a big step from Michelin. And I like the tire because maybe you can do the race tomorrow. So it's a qualifying tire and a race tire. So a tire for every day.
I've got two questions, one for Mark and one for Daniel. Mark, you were behind Alex Rins during qualifying. He was quite fast, but did you feel that he was holding you up? And do you think that the Suzuki might be a dark horse for the race? And for Danilo, you were saying that you expect a group of about 7-8 people in the first half. And is that going to be a dilemma, knowing that the race could be very close?
Yeah, it was when we started the lap. I was behind Rins, little bit far, and I expect that there will be enough space to do all the lap with some reference there in front. And yeah, on turn 6 I already catch him. I tried to overtake, but you know, with the qualifying on the qualifying practice it's quite difficult because everybody's braking so late. But didn't disturb me. I mean, yeah, maybe I was able to gain something, but honestly helps me more than disturb because was in front with reference, so I was happy with my lap. I think so. I think, yeah, I was following him. Of course, he did a few mistakes on that lap, but I already say yesterday and on Thursday on the press conference that Suzuki's are ready to be on the podium, and especially on this circuit.
I'm a little bit scared about the first lap because I think that many riders want to stay in the top position, and you have to maybe do some overtakes to remain in the top group, and this means that you use a lot of tire or the rear tire, and as I told you, is manage the rear tire for tomorrow is the key, and I think in the second half of the race I hope to stay in the top group and to remain in the few, but if you check all the name and all the pace, I think will be difficult. There are Johan, Mark, but the two Yamaha, I think Pedrosa, Dovizioso, I think is the stronger one because he's very able to manage the tire until the end. And I think Dovi got a little bit more in this moment in managing the tire. And then I cannot say that there is a weak rider, a slow rider, and I don't know. It's impossible to predict the race of tomorrow.
So, question to all the MotoGP riders. I would like to know how did you handle the win on FP3, especially on the main straight.
Yeah, wind was very strong and was necessary to take like a new reference. In the main straight was maybe the best thing because you feel your bike is going a little bit slower and you can brake really so late. It was more difficult in the 3 fast corner, the 12, 13, 14, that in this position you are going so fast into the corner and then the wind push you. So it was sometimes difficult to slow down, and even if you want to turn quick, maybe you can crash. So that's why I think Valley crash. So yes, main straight was okay, but for the rest of the track can be difficult.
Yeah, yesterday the wind was in the opposite way, and in the beginning you must to understand which points are more difficult and which point is better. Maybe the most dangerous, difficult point is the wheelie, because you start the long wheelie normally with MotoGP, and then with the wind is pushing you, and you can lock the front. But yeah, about the wind, honestly, I feel much worse in Australia sometimes than today.
Yeah, the wind today was very strong, especially in the main straight when the pit finished and even the grandstand finished. So arrives in the opposite way compared to yesterday. I mean, in the straight was in opposite direction, and you can brake so hard, but the bike in 6th gear start to move a lot, and was a little bit dangerous, but the most dangerous point, like Mark say, was in acceleration when the bike starts to move the front, and the bike starts to wheelie, and to lock the steer is very easy. Was a difficult situation, but at least we have been fast even in that condition.
Question to Johan. During your qualifying lap, is there a moment when you were close to crash?
I think the last corner, it was the place I was the most scared to crash, because you feel that you are doing a good lap, and then you arrive in the point that is the last corner to do, and is the one that you crash. So you want to do it strong, but then you want also to save a little bit. And I think on this last lap, I was like close to maybe it cannot be good. And finally, it was a little bit moving in the front, and after just open the throttle and hop. So yeah, the last corner has been the most scary one.
A question for Mark. Yesterday, Johan said that it was his dream. You know, he grew up watching the Repsol Honda team. It was his dream to maybe be in there one day. Do you have a say in who will be your teammate next year?
No, I mean, of course, it's the decision of Honda, but I know that it's Honda HRC, and I want the strongest teammate that they think. I mean, because I think it's good to have a very competitive riders with high level in the same garage, because then for improving the bike, for the team, for the atmosphere is better. Dan is fast, is very fast, and this season he will be very fast, but Johan is impressive, so I don't know, for me it will be okay. I signed already, so I'm happy.
A question for Danilo. Danilo, last year sometimes you struggled with managing the rear tire, but through the preseason and here you've been very consistent. Your pace has been good. Obviously you've lost weight and you've worked on your managing the throttle, but is the new Ducati a little better in this aspect at managing the rear tire, or have you changed your settings to work on this as well?
Yeah, I lose weight, but it's difficult to calculate if it helps or not. And for sure, the most important thing is to manage the throttle. When you open outside of the corner, you have to let no slide the bike, and it's very easy with maybe 250, 260 horsepower. I work a lot on my riding style. One of my targets of the last test was doing the race simulation for see if everything works, and at least I did a very good race simulation. But the race, you know, as I told you, is different, because you have maybe some riders going a little bit faster in the front, and you start to push again. So I have to be calm tomorrow, and I know I'm good on braking. But for sure the new Ducati helps me a lot. It's not so different compared to the other one, but we can work on details. So when you have a good base, it's good, because you try one way and see if it works or not, and if it don't work, come back to the base and it's still okay. So yeah, I like a lot the new Ducati, the best bike I ridden in MotoGP.
A question for MotoGP rider: are you happy with the new time schedule, or in your opinion was better last year?
We spoke about that in the safety commission, that it's difficult to take preference when it's day and then night. But last year, when we wanted to do it, it was maybe too late and too much humidity, so it's a bit complicated. At least I think the first practice anyway, you take your reference after 2 weeks without the MotoGP, but it's complicated for the race direction to manage all in 3 days. So you have to ride during the day, or maybe if you want to have all session in the night in 3 days, maybe change the tires to be better when it's cold and humid. I don't know.
Question for
me, it's quite good. I think it's better this year, especially because it's true that we have only 2 real sessions, FP2 and FP4. But in another hand, we already test here 2 weeks ago, so everybody know more or less the setup, everybody know more or less the tires. So we gain on safety. Maybe we lose 2 practice, but luckily we have a test here 2 weeks ago, so it's not so important. We know that it's a special race, and I prefer like this because we gain on safety, especially on the race time.
Yeah, me too. I agree with Mark, because we test 2 weeks ago. We know very well the setup, the track condition at 3 o'clock, and at 6, at 7, at 8. So go on the bike here until 9. You never know what happened, and for me, we have not so much options to ride here, because I think going over 9 o'clock in the evening is a little bit too dangerous, and we have to do one session during the day.
Question for Johan. Johan, most of the riders switch to the soft front for the qualification. You stay with the medium. Was it the key of your lap time?
Compared with the other two Yamaha, maybe was this key to be faster. But since Friday, my feeling is better with the medium one, and also since the test. That's why I didn't want to slow down too much. You know, I feel good, and I know that if I keep pushing, at least for a few laps, it's gonna work well. So it can be the key, but overall, when you have the good feeling, you go on it.
Question for Mark. During FP3, we could see on the screen team communication number 73 following. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Does it have a special meaning? Can we see it again during the season?
You know, my team is joking all the time, and during the weekend already they are joking because my brother is riding really good, and in this racetrack normally I'm struggling, and always they are saying that maybe your brother need to teach something to you about Qatar racetrack. And yeah, then they say, we will test the dashboard, the message, and then I saw there, follow number 73. Then was a nice joke, and was a big smile inside the helmet. Luckily that I was going in on the box, because I lost a little bit the concentration.
Question for Alex and for Nico. How do you feel about the schedule change? Because it affects you maybe more than it affects MotoGP.
For me, for Moto2, I was a little bit scared with the sun in the race time, but I checked it today and was quite okay. I don't know if in Moto3 the sun will be more down, will be a problem for the riders, but for Moto2 it's okay. What Mark say, you have only 2 reals practice, but in the end I think we need to adapt to everything, and it's for everything. So we need to work with all the keys that we have.
No, I think it's not a big problem to ride in the day, because at 4 o'clock is not so hot. Yeah, it's quite hot, but in Malaysia it's worse, and also I think also the track have a good grip in this hour. The problem is more the wind for us, because the wind with Moto3 is more difficult than a ride in the hot condition.
Okay, that concludes the press conference then for Saturday. Very best of luck tomorrow. If I could ask everyone to remain seated and stand for the photos, please. Mr. Abraham, if you'd like to join the riders. Thank you. Okay.